Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, one and all. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Nationals training arc. In the last episode, I took an in-depth look for you guys at the standard version with the Machina Engine, the Infinitracks, and the level 10 trains. Whilst the standard version is amazing and is likely going to be the basis for every version of the deck going forward, it does have its flaws. But this is where modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, as a whole, have a very good effect. Engines as a whole are what make Yu-Gi-Oh! Go around this day and age, and considering the inception of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had many splashful engines over the years, it's one of these things where, because we now have the space, we can take advantage of them. From the Adventure engine back in Grand Creators to the modern Fiendsmith engine, it allows decks that were otherwise unplayable to thrive in a new way and actually have a lot better chance in the modern metagame. But there's one specific engine that makes our deck a lot better and a lot more consistent. After all, these trains do need drivers. Today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the K9 engine, as well as how it bridges from itself to Earth Machine, vice versa, as well as the combos that we're going to be at least trying to base our plays off of. If you've been living under a rock for however long and have no idea how the K9 engine actually works, or just a little unsure of how both engines bridge into one another, I will explain, but give me a moment to give an introduction on the K9 cards. The K9 engine as a whole is a series of level 5 monsters and a couple relevant spells released in Justice Hunters alongside Yummy and Dracotail that want one thing. They want your opponent to activate monster effects in the hand or grave, allowing cards like K9 Izuna to summon from hand turn 0 and K9 Lupus to summon itself from grave turn 0, and also, in the case of specifically Lupus, to quick exceed summon on your opponent's turn if they do the thing. It's not all exclusively about turn 0 stuff, however. Jockle, Lantern and Noroi allow the K9 archetype to do things on your turn. Jockle can reveal itself and another level 5, not just a K9 as a whole, to summon both of them, but you're locked out on making light exceeds monsters with the two monsters, but as a trade-off you can search for any non-aqua K9 monster as an ignition effect. Essentially, Jockle searches for anything that's not himself. Lantern is the monster reborn for the K9 engine, which allows you to summon himself and another K9 from graveyard, whilst also acting as an ignition effect to search for a K9 spell or trap, whilst having the same lock as Jockle. Finally, K9 Noroi is the technical normal summon of the deck, which can be done if your opponent's got 2 or more cards in their hand, and acts as an emergency teleport for any K9 monster on specifically normal summon, as well as a hand peek if you send a spell you control to the graveyard as an ignition effect. All the K9 monsters have the same effect as Noroi, that if your opponent's got 2 or more cards in the hand, you can normal summon them without tributing, as well they are level 5s. A case for K9 is essentially the rotor for the K9 archetype as a whole. It, on activation, searches for any K9 monster, and when your opponent activates a monster effect in hand or in grave, or K9 monsters you control gain 500 attack, which can stack if case wasn't at 1 in the TCG. It can also set a K9 quick play spell from the deck if it is sent to graveyard, which would set the other relevant spell, K9 Force Release, which is essentially a quick play rank up magic spell that can pop a card on the field on activation. Both of these are the spells that are actually relevant to us and the modern K9 engine as a whole. I will be talking about these a couple of times within the context of the deck and with the context of the meta as a whole, but just know there are a couple other spells and traps that you can play. K9 also have 5 extra deck monsters. K9 Ripper, which is a rotor for any K9 card, as well as acting as a monster negate for anything hand or graveyard related, and it's a generic rank 5. This allows any deck that has a smorgasbord of rank 5s and level 5s as a whole to bridge into the K9 cards with ease. K9 Hound is the middle of the road attacker for the archetype. It gains attack per monster effect your opponent activates in hand or in grave, as well as being unable to be destroyed by battle or by card effects the turn it is Xyz summon, and being able to banish a card on the field once per your standby phase by detaching a material. K9 Jax is a quick effect monster pop on Xyz summon or when your opponent activates an effect, but it allows any Xyz monster that has it as material to inflict double battle damage when they activate a monster effect in hand or graveyard during this turn. K9 Werewolf is where things start to get saucy. A rank 9 that can be summoned off of Force Release that acts as a hand rip or a targeted banish from field or graveyard if your opponent activates a monster effect and depending on whose turn it is. We have K9 Ripper Millennium, another rank 9 summonable off of Force Release, which acts as a double MST as well as a monster negate and a dark hole on resolution. For the extra deck monsters that are relevant, we're only going to be talking specifically about the rank 5 K9 Ripper, as well as the werewolf, as it is a big boy. As well, the former allows us to bridge into the K9 engine and vice versa. So I'm going to quickly show you how all these cards work, especially with Earth Machine. All of these combos are going to be 1.5 card combos because a lot of the time you do kind of need to always have a card to discard off of the exceeds rank up effects of Gustav Rocket. So this one is going to be the combo with Exceptional Schedule and a discard. I luckily enough now actually have the physical cards to use for you, which major thanks to Yu Hin Tang from the Facebook group. So I'm going to quickly show you. So we're going to start by activating the Exceptional Schedule to search for an urgent schedule and give us a token. So we will go and find it. We will go and find the wherever it is. We will go and find a copy of urgent schedule, and we are going to give our opponent a token. We're going to use this sleeve as a token for the time being. And now we will activate the effect of urgent schedule. We will go and special from the deck. We'll go and special copy for a copy of Blue Traveler, our Blue Traveler as a level 5 or higher, then specifically the Gizmek Frog as our level 4 or lower, which is going to be relevant considering of how this combo is actually going to work. We are then going to link off the Gizmek Frog and the Blue Traveler for a copy of specifically Ancient Gear Ballista. We're then going to activate the effect of Ancient Gear Ballista on someone to search us a Ancient Gear monster or a Gear Town. We're going to search for the Ancient Gear box. We're then going to activate the Ancient Gear box effect to search us for a specific copy, more specifically a specific copy of Babbledecker. We're then going to use our first normal summon on the Babbledecker because it allows us to then activate its effect on someone to special summon the Ancient Gearbox from our hand, which will then link off the Ancient Gearbox and the Ancient Gear Ballista specifically for a copy of a double-headed Anger Knuckle. We will then use the effect of the Anger Knuckle, tributing itself to special back the Blue Traveler from our graveyard. We will then use the Blue Traveler and the Babbledecker in the extra monster zone to exceed summon into a copy of Flying Launcher. We will then use the effect of the Flying Launcher on exceed summon to such as an Earth Machine or a Barrage Blast. We will specifically be searching for a, where is the boy? We will be specifically searching for a K9 Noroi. We can then use our additional normal summon on the Noroi. We will use this effect on normal summon, as I previously said, to special a K9 monster from the deck. We will be specifically special summoning a K9 Lantern, wherever he is. There he is. We will then use the effect of the K9 Lantern to search for a K9 spell or trap. We're going to be searching for a copy of Case for K9. That's Clockwork. We will be searching for a copy of Case for K9. We will then overlay the two K9 monsters into a copy of K9 Ripper. So it means that it's going to be fairly insulated from Nib and everything else because it was the urgent schedule was. You can do that essentially the same exceptional schedule combo that is Nib proof a lot of the time. We will then activate the effects of the Ripper, specifically detaching the Noroi to then search for any K9 cards. We will search for specifically our one of Jockle. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? We will search for the copy of that's Lantern. That's Jockle. Search for a copy of Jockle. We will then activate the effects of Case for K9 to search for a copy of another Noroi specifically, or another copy of Noroi, should I say. Me when I can word good. Where is he? We will search for a copy of Noroi. We will then activate the effects of the Jockle in hand, revealing itself and the Noroi to then special summon both of them. We can then use the effects of the Jockle as an ignition effect to actually go and search us another copy of Lantern. This is one of the few times where an actual second copy of Lantern is likely going to work out in your favor. So here is our second copy of Lantern. We will then overlay the two level 5s into a copy of Riverstormer. We can then activate the Riverstormer effect, detaching the Noroi again to then go and search for an Earth Machine by obviously adding it to our hand or sending it from our deck to the graveyard. We will be searching for specifically a copy of the Blue Traveler, which we will then activate its effect to search for to discard itself and search for a revolving switchyard. We will then activate the switchyard, which I will put up there for the sake of you guys being able to see. We'll actually, yeah, we'll put it up there for now. We can then use the effects of the Flying Launcher, detaching the Blue Traveler to then pop the Case for K9, which seems really backwards, but then you remember we actually have the effect for a case for Canine to actually set us a Canine quick play spell from the deck. Unfortunately, we can't activate it the turn it's set due to game mechanics, but it doesn't matter. We will set a copy of Force Release. We can then link off these two. We'll link the River Stormer and the Flying Launcher off for a copy of Clifford's Genius. We can then, this is where it actually starts to get a bit spicy, we can activate the effect of the Gizmek Frog. We can banish it from our graveyard to special summon a machine monster that's got the same attack and defense, of which Blue Traveler has the exact same. Which will then, because an Earth Machine was special summoned, we can use the effect of Revolving Switchyard to special summon a Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede from the deck, which will then actually activate its effect on summon to special back any Earth Machine from our graveyard, but negate its effects. We will be specialing back the Noroi specifically. We will then use the effect of the Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede targeting the Noroi to make its own level 5. We can then overlay these two into a copy of Cyber Dragon Nova, and then overlay that into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity, which this is where stuff gets really, really fun, because obviously we now have a Monster Negate and an Omni Negate. We can then activate the effects of the Lantern, targeting the Noroi in our graveyard to special summon both of them, which will then trigger the Clifford Genius to search for a level 5 or higher Earth Machine. We will be searching for our Therion King Regulus, wherever he may be. Where is our boy Reginald? There he is. We have found Reginald. We will then overlay these two cards specifically into a copy of Valon, which obviously is really good for the Book of Moon. We can link off what have you. We then link off the Blue Traveler and the Clifford Genius into a copy of SP. We will then use the SP effect to banish the token, so our opponent doesn't have anything to beat the fuck out of us with, which is always the way to go. We will then activate the effects of the Blue Traveler, targeting itself and the Babbledecker in our graveyard to special summon both of them. We can then overlay these two cards for a copy of Gustav Max, using its effects detaching any material, it's likely to be the Babbledecker, to burn our opponent for 2,000 points of damage, and then overlay the Gustav Rocket on top by discarding that card that we had earlier. And for our final action, we will special summon the Regulus by equipping an Earth Machine from our graveyard. So it likely to be the Clifford Genius. I understand that that was a lot to go through, but this is what you get out of just exceptional schedule and a 1-card combo. So you get a Tag Out Banish, you get a Monster Negate that can actually rank up into a Hand Rip, as well as a pop through the Force Release. You have a Omni Negate that is essentially a suck as well, which is always really good. A Book of Moon, another Monster Negate that burns our opponent for that burns our opponent for 1,000, and another Omni Negate. So we have 2 Monster Negates, one of which is in hand or grave, a Omni Negate or Monster Negate for anywhere, sorry, an Omni Negate, a Banish, as well as a Book of Moon and a pop as well. We still have access to the Werewolf as well, which is the Hand Rip and the multi-attacker. We have access to Zeus, as well as the Chronomaly rank 5 if we happen to need it. So that is what the full combo is. So I'm going to show you a combo that exclusively uses Blue Traveler and 1 to 2 discards. It depends on what you actually decide to do. The reason I say that is because the combo I was originally going to show you is outdated. It requires the use of 2 Canine Jockle, of which in the TCG we can't use. We don't have 2 Jockle to work with. It's currently at 1. So the way I'm going to show you this combo is very different as to what I was researching over, but it's a lot more free-flowing and you can figure out where you need to go. So I do apologize if I fumble this a little bit. So what I will decide to do is, well, we'll simply start with, we'll activate the effect of the Blue Traveler to go and search us a copy of Revolving Switchyard. I need to get new sleeves. So we go and search for a copy of Revolving Switchyard. We will then activate Switchyard and use this effect, discarding a card, which it doesn't have to be a hand trap, but it will just discarding a card to serve the purpose. And we will search for specifically the, where is the guy? Search for the Babbledecker. So what we will then do, we will then normal summon the Babel Decker, but we will not use this effect because in this specific instance, we don't have an Earth Machine in hand to summon. We will then link off the Babel Decker into a copy of Clockwork Knight. We will then use the effects of the Blue Traveler in Graveyard, targeting itself and the Babel Decker, to special summon them both. We will then use the effect, well, we will overlay the two into a copy of Flying Launcher. We will use its effect on Xyz Summon to go search for an Earth Machine. We will obviously go and search for our K9 Noroi. We can then use our additional normal summon on the Noroi, and we will use its effect to E-Tele for a K9. We will E-Tele for specifically a Jokul, or a Jokul. Where is the guy? He's a one-off. He's a super rare. Where is he? He's at the top of the fucking deck. We will activate the effect of the Jokul to go and search us a copy of Lantern, most likely, to go and trigger the Clipboard Genius eventually in probably the next step of the turn. We will then use the effect of the K9 Noroi to tribute over to send the Jokul to graveyard. It actually sends a card, not a spell, as I will probably put an edit in, to look at our opponent's hand. We will then link off the Clockwork and the Noroi into a copy of Clipboard Genius. We will then use the effects of the Lantern, targeting the Noroi. We will then, obviously, we'll special summon the both of them. We can then activate the effect of the Clipboard Genius to search for pretty much whatever we need. In a lot of instances, I'm going to be going to be searching for the Reggie, because we will normally search for another Noroi to special off of the second Jokul in the combo, but we can't, because we only have one Jokul. We will then overlay, well, we won't overlay it, we will activate the effect of the Lantern to go and search for a K9 spell or trap. We will be going to obviously search for our copy of Case for K9. We will then activate said Case for K9 to go and search us for a K9 monster. In the combo that I was researching, I was originally going to search for another Jokul. However, we will search for an Izuna for the following turn, of which I will actually show you why we're even bothering to do that. We will then overlay these two level 5 monsters into a copy of Riverstormer. We will then activate the effect of the Riverstormer, detaching the Lantern to go and search for an Earth Machine. We will go and search for specifically Convex Knight, which allows us to actually get to the level 10 we need in the graveyard to do the next couple of steps. We will go and find the boy, go find Convex. What we will then do is we will actually activate the effects of the Convex in hand right now, because then what we can do, we can special it and make it a level 10. We can then link, or we can then use the effect of the Clockwork as an ignition effect, because we have to send a copy of the Derek Crane to graveyard. In testing this combo, this is where I found out a Machina cell would work fucking wonders, because half of our boards will be Earth Machines. We will then link off these two cards. We'll link off the Clipboard Genius and the Convex Knight into a copy of Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. We will then activate the effect of the Anger Knuckle, specifically tributing over the Flying Launcher to special back the Derek Crane, because we can't tribute for cast and summon materials. We will then activate the effect of Revolving Switch Yards to E-Tele for a level 10, or E-Tele for specifically Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. We will special... Where's the guy? Where is he? Where is he? He is somewhere. He's dead from the deck. We can then activate the effect of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. This is entirely dependent on what you feel like you need. You can either pretty much, like, if you decide to Foolish Barrel another Noroi to do stuff with it, you can, but I've currently not figured out the combo for it. We will then we will then summon it back. We will then overlay these two cards into a copy of Gustav Max. We will activate the effect of the Gustav, detaching specifically the Babel Decker. You will see why in just a moment, which will burn our opponent for 2,000 life points. We will then overlay again into a copy of Gustav Rocket, discarding the other card. We can then, obviously, we can go a couple ways from here if we would like. What we can do is that, realistically, we can probably link off the Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede and the Double-Headed Anger Knuckle into a copy of SP Little Knight, which if our opponent's got a monster on field, get rid of it. It's fucking gone. Then we can activate the effect of the Regulus in hand to special summon itself by equipping an Earth Machine. It's likely going to be, it's likely going to be the Clockwork Knight. So, realistically, this board isn't as strong. Also, in the end phase, we will detach specifically the Gustav Max. So, our end board specifically is a Gustav Max with a Derrick Crane attached, because you can actually detach its effects to, or detach to negate, burn, and then the Derrick Crane will trigger. We have our Omni Negate with the SP, then we also have the SP Little Knight. We also have a kind of secret effect with the River Stormer. If it decides to stick around, we can swing into something, it goes to graveyard, and it gets attached to this card as material. But that's not what we actually want it for. Well, it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. It's one of these weird things where sometimes you get excess bodies on the board. So, in our opponent's turn, if our opponent activates a monster effect, we can activate the effect of the Easonart in hands to special summon itself, and then use its effect on normal or special to Foolish Barrel any canine monster. We will be Foolish Barreling specifically the Lupus, which then, where is it? Where's the guy? Where's the brick? Lupus. This is where things start to get a little bit juicy, because we can then activate the effects of the Lupus to special summon itself back. And then, whenever our opponent does something again, we can activate the effect of the Lupus to Exceed Summon. We can either make a Ripper to figure out what our opponent's got in hand, or what have you. What we can do is, what is likely to be better, we can make the Chronomaly rank 5, which allows us to have a monster negate for pretty much anywhere alongside of what we already have. So this combo is one of these weird things that I found on the fly. I'm not going to lie to you. I found on the fly, but it's something that I'm going to hopefully understand a little bit more as time goes on, especially when I have like a better understanding of this version of the deck. But I seem to really like this combo and how fluid it feels. So this time around, I'm going to show you the last combo for the Canine Engine that's exclusive kind of to them. It involves a Noroi and a discard. In this case, it's going to be a Perulia. We're going to start by normal summoning our Canine Noroi and using its effect to emergency teleport for pretty much any canine. We are going to specifically be e-tailing for our first of 2 copies of Lantern. We then activate the effect of Lantern to go search for a canine spell. We will always be searching for a case for canine, because it's really the only target that's even relevant for us. We will overlay the 2 canine monsters as summon number 3 into a copy of Canine Ripper. So the good thing is about the Canine Engine is that most, if not all, combos you do with this version of the deck will always make Ripper as summon number 3 or summon number 4. So then it means that your lines are essentially hand trap insulated, or in this case specifically nib insulated, because we don't really get to another monster negate until quite late into the combo anyway. But what we will do, we'll activate the effect of the Ripper, detaching specifically the Noroi to go and search for another canine card. We will be searching for our one of Jockle. We will then activate the effect of the Case for Canine to go search us for another canine monster. We will be searching for another copy of Noroi wherever he is. We'll be searching for another copy of him. What we will do, we'll activate the effects of the Jockle, revealing itself and Noroi to special summon them both. We will use the Ignition effect of the Jockle to go and search for a non-aqua canine. We will be searching for our second copy of Lantern. Then what we will do is we will activate the effect of the Lantern, targeting the Noroi in our graveyard to special summon it and the Noroi. This is where things do start to get a little bit more specific of what you overlay. We will overlay the 2 canine monsters that are not the 2 Norois that are currently on our field into a copy of River Stormer. We'll activate the effect of the River Stormer, detaching anything here, it doesn't specifically matter, to go and search us a copy of Night Traveler Blue Train. What you'll do, obviously, we'll activate the effect of the Blue Traveler to go and search us a copy of Revolving Switchyard, which likely we will activate in just a moment. Where is it? God, am I blind? Probably. I'm very bad at trying to... Oh, it's behind the Force Release. What we will then do, we will link off the 2 Earth Machines, specifically the 2 Norois, to then make a copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. We'll activate the Ballista effect to go and search us an Ancient Gear monster or a Gear Town. Obviously, in this case, we'll be searching for the Blick. We'll be searching for Ancient Gearbox. We'll activate the effect of the Ancient Gearbox to go and search us for a machine monster that's got 500 attack or defense. In this specific combo, we will be searching for our Heavy Knight Babbledecker. Sometimes you can search for the Convex, but I feel like you'll always be searching for the Babbledecker. We will then link off the Ancient Gear Ballista and the River Stormer into our copy of Clifford Genius. Then what we will do, we'll activate our Revolving Switchyard, and we will activate the effects on resolution of the Blue Traveler targeting itself and the Canine Noroi. We will then summon to specifically the zone the zones the Clifford Genius points to, because then it allows us to build a chain that goes something a little bit like this. We will go effect of Clifford Genius as chaining 1 to search us a level 5 or higher Earth Machine. We will go Revolving Switchyard as chaining 2 to special summon A level 4 Earth Machine from the deck's got 1800 attack or defense, then make it a level 10. So we will be special summoning a Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede off of the Revolving Switchyard. It is now a level 10. And we will be searching for our boy Reginald off of the copy of Clifford Genius. What we will then do, we will activate the effect of the Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede to summon back our second copy of Norway from our graveyard. It's negated, but the effect is mildly irrelevant. What we will do, we will overlay the 2 copies of Norway into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then overlay that into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Nova into Infinity, sorry, I can't speak good England. Well, this allows us, obviously, we now have another Omni Negator, which means that we are now pretty much insulated to pop the fuck off. We will overlay the 2 level 10s we currently have here into our copy of Flying Launcher, which on Exceed Summon will search us any Earth Machine or a copy of Barrage Blast, which, considering the fact the Earth Machine we will search off of it, we already have, in this specific instance, we will be searching a Barrage Blast. I do apologise, it's not on the sleeve, I've just not put it in the deck yet. What we can do, use our additional normal summon on the Babel Decker to then use its effect to summon the Ancient Gearbox from hand. We can then link off the 2 Earth Machines, more specifically the Clifford Genius and the Ancient Gearbox, into a copy of Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. We can then use the Anger Knuckle effect to tribute summon itself, or to tribute itself to special summon the... Well, actually, we can't do that just yet. I have missed a step. We can then activate the effect of the Flying Launcher, detaching specifically the Blue Traveler, because we need a level 10 engraver to pop our Case for Canine. We can then activate the effect of the Case for Canine to set another Canine spell or trap. Obviously, it's going to be our copy of Force Release. Now we can actually do the combo properly and not skip ahead. We can activate the effect of the Anger Knuckle, tributing itself to special summon back the Blue Traveler from our graveyard. We can then overlay these 2 into the extra monster zone, into our copy of OG Gustav, and use its effect detaching to burn our opponent for 2000 points of damage. We can then overlay these 2 into our copy of Gustav Rocket, which obviously we have to discard for. We will be discarding our Perulia. We can then activate the effects of Reggie in hand to attach any machine from our graveyard to special summon itself. So we'll attach the Clifford Genius. We will set 1, which will obviously be the Barrage Blast, and pass. This combo is wild. It's really, really strong, and it's really, really good, especially off of just 1 Noroi. So in this combo, you specifically get access to... So to show properly, we have access to an early monster negate, so our lines are nib proof. We have 2 Omni Negates, one of which is a suck as well, and obviously it gains attack. We have our monster negate in the form of the Gustav Rocket that burns our opponent. We have the Barrage Blast, which, just in case you don't know what it does, once per turn you can detach any materials from the number of machine exceeds monsters we currently control. We destroy or target that many cards in the field, destroy them. If an exceeds monster we control would be destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card fail, whilst card is in the graveyard, you can manage it, and the machine exceeds monster from your graveyard, and burn your opponent for equal to the amount of the monster's rank times 200. So, for example, if we banish either one of the 2 level 10 trains, we're burning our opponent for 2000 points of damage, which is not that bad at all. Obviously, we have our Omni Negate off of Reggie, the Infinity as well, and we also have the rank up into our copy of Werewolf if we so happen to need it. So, this is the kind of not be-all end-all combo, but one of the best combos you can do if you open just Noroi and another card. The Canine Engine at the moment is the most meta engine we can play, and it bridges very, very easily into engine and out of engine. But is it the way forward for us? To start with the pros, well, it's easy to bridge into, despite what it may look like when you add 2 engines together that almost lack any cohesion with one another outside of 1 card. Earth Machine can bridge into Canine, and Canine can bridge into Earth Machine via Ripper Stormer and Ripper respectively. It's one of these things where Noroi also being an Earth Machine is something that is actually very, very good. It's a 3 of in this version, and well, you want to open it multiple times, and well, you also want to be able to find it within the combo to summon it off of Jockle. The deck is also nib and hand trap proof multiple times over. Because this deck has an access to an early Ripper as summon number 3 or summon number 4, as well as the exceptional schedule nib proof combo, it is also the version that makes it so insulated to hand traps because Ripper is a constant for a majority of the combo. The deck space. With being able to essentially make the same board but a lot more insulated and a lot stronger, it allows us to actually free up space for extra hand traps or extenders if we need be. Something different about this version that is very much apparent when it comes to how it plays is the extra deck. You have easier access to ranks 5 like the Chronomaly Vimana and the Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity package, as well as other rank 5s, as the deck barely locks you until either the end of the combo with the Blue Traveler or the light lock off of Jockle or Lantern, but you can play around it easily. And the fact that you're not locked into machines at all means you have access to SP, which makes getting rid of the exceptional schedule token so much easier. Despite what I said about the deck being amazing and a lot of the pros are really good, it's still not without its cons. The deck is still almost brickless. Despite what the deck allows for bridges between engine to engine, it doesn't solve the problem with bricks. Engine gearbox is still very much around and is more needed than ever to search for things within the combo that you don't have access to otherwise because you have to cut some cards. And Canine Lupus is shit to draw. If your opponent does something to summon it from hand, it does essentially nothing because we're not playing Typhon unless you specifically draw Izuna with it. We also lose out on specific layers of interaction. Because of the way we're currently building the deck with the Canine cards, we lose out on specific layers of interruption and interaction that makes the other versions a lot better. The Pot of Avarice with the Tunneler and the Scrap Recycler, the Reviver and Raigeki on Machina Citadel, and even the Negate and the Life Point reduction on Machina Ruin Force, as well as the other level trains like Lieb and Dora. Losing out on these can sometimes feel very bad with how much of an impact a well-timed Raigeki can do, or maybe just those 2 extra cards that maybe could be 2 more Handtraps. It's a weird sacrifice that's likely to pay off in the modern age, but it's something we do still have to consider. Because this is something that goes kind of hand in hand with what I just said, we lose out on a lot of combos. Because we have to cut out specific engines like the Infinitracks and the Machina, it means we do lose out on specific combos that may just be better than the Canine Engine as a whole. The one-card Infinitrack combos, the FTK, as well as just combos that get you more access to specific lines and interactions, like the draw 3 over the course of the turn with a Scrap Recycler and an Infinitrack Tunneler. One thing I've always come to kind of realize is that the extra deck is also kind of a problem. Because you're mandatory playing 2 cards for the Canine Engine and maybe even up to 4 or 5 if you're playing Sabotaging Infinity, Nova and another rank 5, it means that you do have to cut some of the other cards that are really good on the clapback like Dora and even Lieb. It's one of these things where I feel like I'm also struggling a little bit to figure out what I actually want to play in the extra deck, but I feel like that would come with a little bit of time. At the moment, Canine Earth Machine seems to be the best way to go for the deck. Both engines bridge from one another really well, allows for extra space in the main and some really good interruptions over the course of the turn, as well as just generally being a lot better into the current state of the modern Yu-Gi-Oh game, as well as a lot of the other things that are going to come out over the course of the next month or so in the lead up to UK Nationals. That will be all from me, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. The Canine Engine at the moment seems to be the most balanced way to play the deck. It allows us for more modern strategies and, well, just as a whole, more better bridges and more consistency. And that was good English, I swear. If you guys have been enjoying this series as much as I've been enjoying making it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below anything you thought was funny, relevant, or it helps you out with your own deck list, or maybe even something I got wrong. So I have a habit of doing that. Have a good one, stay safe, and happy playing. I shall see you guys in the next episode.